but I've only got one.
Wow.
I'm really looking to get another one and maybe up to 7. I don't know. Is that what they're telling me? That's got to be a male and a female and their pup. A male and a female and a couple of pups, because they got those 2 males separated there. But she's worked it out. She knows how to do it there. Okay, now, why are we going to start talking about food now? We're going to talk about protein. Well, do you see any protein on that plate?
Oh,
How many carbs do you see on the plate?
very few.
Maybe the tomatoes, but that's minimal. It's not going to really affect your blood sugar.
That looks good.
That is wonderful when you're trying to build your muscle instead of lose your muscle, okay? If you want to lose weight, what people end up doing is they may lose some fat, but they lose muscle too. Well, you don't want that to happen. Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. Now, again, this is a principle that is applied to one's whole health for one's whole body. That top. So, how are your flocks doing, Margaret? Mary, do you have a lot of, you got a big herd at home? Do you? I don't have any. I've just got one dog. That's it. Most people would be that way. But do you see this? Give careful attention to your herds. Now this is how it might have been. Here you have a shepherd. He's got a big bunch of sheep. He's got goats. And he's trying to separate them. You know what the key is to separating? Well, I understand that sheep's tails, they go down. Goats go up. Now look at that. See if you can pick out the goats by just looking at the tails. And the sheep. What do we have there? What's that group? That's a group of goats, isn't it?
One sheep.
Yeah, it's just wait a second here. Now look at that. Is that a bunch of goats over there? You can tell. Well, we're giving careful attention to this, aren't we? Right there. Well, what does this have to do with our health? Well, we need to give careful attention to every area in our life. I need to start all over. I didn't even have the mic on.
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you. We heard you.
Yeah, well, I just video recorded this, and it's going to be on YouTube, and no one's going to be able to hear it. Okay. Well, we'll see how it turns out. I may have to repeat it, though, somewhere along the line, okay? Man, I planned on this in every single detail. Gave careful attention to it and forgot to turn on the button. Okay. That happens to the best of us, doesn't it, Barbara?
Yeah.
So here we have it. I enjoy eating some popcorn or chips each evening. Someone says, well, how much? Well, I exercise portion control. I get a bag of chips, and when they're gone, that's it. I try to get a little exercise each day. How much? Well, I don't know. Well, that's good that you're trying to get a little. You know, some people might get 3,000 steps a day, maybe 4, but that's not enough. See, well, who knows? I get a little. I don't know how many carbs I eat at each meal, but I'm trying to get back or cut back on the amount. Well, maybe it'd be a good idea to actually count them and find out how many you're getting. Now, the Joslin Diabetes Center, they came up with a program called White Weight. And one of the things that they emphasize in this program, the Joslin Diabetes Center is in Boston. They treat 32,000 people with diabetes a year. 32,000. And this is a book that came out of that study that they had, or that program that they had. And one of the things they emphasize in this is protein. A high protein, low carbohydrate energy meal plan is used. And then patients with diabetes lose about 1 pound of their muscle mass every year. Did you know that? In other words, you're becoming weaker and weaker every year. You don't want to do that. You want to try to prevent that. And then third, resistance exercise, bigger muscles are more sensitive to insulin. They maintain your metabolism at a higher rate. And so, eating more protein, like fish, turkey, chicken, also makes you less hungry, fills you up faster, burns more daily calories, and, probably most important of all, keeps you from losing muscle when you're dieting and exercising regularly. Now, I read this story about this woman who was 100 years old, and she was going to run in the race at Penn State University, the relays that they had there. She was going to do the 100-yard dash. 100 years old. And she got out there, and by the way, she's still living. She's 105 now. So she got out there, and she started running, and you can kind of see her now, right there. That's her dash. That's her sprint at 100. I hope I can do that well when I get to be 100. But can you imagine her doing that? And her time was a world record for a 100-year-old, which is amazing. But what happened was, years ago, at the age of 67, she started doing this. She started getting out and running. In fact, her daughter brought her a new pair of sneakers or tennis shoes, and she was able to, and she told her to get out of the house, that this daughter, 2 brothers, had been murdered. And the mother, Ida, was just sitting in the house moping. And she brought her these shoes and said, we're going to get out there and we're going to start running. And they entered a 5K run. And that's when it started, when she was 67. She's continuing to do it at the age of 100. Can you imagine? Wow. And here's what she said about her longevity. She said, eat for nutrition, not for taste. Do what you need to do, not what you want to do. And make sure you exercise at least once every day. Well, I'm telling you to do it more than that for our blood sugar control. Her daughter is astonished at what her mother can still do at her age. Although she explains it's like every year it feels longer than a year. And the amount of your ability that gets compromised or compromised can be a lot. Okay. I, however, is taking it all in stride, literally. But probably the most important thing she said seemed like an afterthought in the story. She said, I thank God every day for my blessings. Yes. Well, why shouldn't she be thankful for her blessings? Isn't she doing what that wisdom teaching from God says? Go to the ant, consider its ways, and be wise. It has no commander, no overruler or seer. Yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. Isn't that something? So, we are now going to shift gears and really go in depth into these delicious foods. And while I'm changing files, why doesn't everyone just stand up slowly who can? Those of you who can, stand up slowly. And I'm going to slip into another file here.
You want to stand up? This is my exercise.
Okay, does everyone feel